is Anne from ducttapeanddenim.com. Today I'm going to be doing a stenciled Christmas sign. This is the Deco Art Vintage Effect Wash, and this is the color I'm going to show you here in a minute, so I'll show you how to get this look so that you can kind of still see the wood grain underneath it. I really like that. This one, I just used white paint. Let's see, I did two white ones and I did them a little bit different way. This one I put the paint on with a brush and I immediately wiped it off. So I kind of used it like a wash. And then this one, I just thinned the paint down with water and I didn't wipe it off. But you can still see the wood grain underneath it. And then this color, it's a Vintage Effect Wash. The color just says red. I think they have one that's called berry that's a little bit darker. So I think next time I'm going to try that one, because y'all let me know if you like that one for Christmas or if you would like your red to be a little bit darker. So these two I did the same. This is just a dark stain. Again, this one I just rubbed it on. I just took I didn't brush it on with a brush. I just took an old cloth and wiped it on, and then I wiped it off and kind of buffed it. So I really like the dark wood. And then I did one in black because I thought I'm doing a black one with a white stencil. I'm doing a white one with a black stencil. Maybe I'll do a black one with a white stencil and just see how that turns out. So we're going to try those today. First, I'm going to just shake it up good. And you can tell it's really dark and thick, but it's gonna end up looking like that. That's the back. I didn't finish the back off. This has a little bit of varnish on it. All right, so I'm just gonna stick my brush down in it and paint it on. All right, as you can tell, I already used this rag. This is an old t-shirt rag. And before it dries, I'm just going to wipe it off. And just wipe it off with the grain. Make sure it gets down in all the crevices and everything. I'm going to go ahead and do the edges. If you pull it like that across the grain, you're going to get a different pattern on it. I kind of like doing it with the grain so it all flows better. And the cut ends are going to soak it in a lot more, so they're going to be a little bit darker. This one is also from Stencil Revolution, and you can find those at ducttapeanddenim.com/stencilrevolution. I did the back first, because I'm going to lay it down. If I was doing a full painted coat, I would have painted the back, maybe painted the sides, and then let it dry before I flipped it over. But because it's almost more like a stain, and it's going to dry pretty quick, so it's not going to get on anything. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and do the front. All right, so that's all I did for that. I'm going to put it over here and let it dry completely. All right, here is my stencil. As you can tell, I've done it in black and white. I've wiped it off, but it's still got a little staining. The most important thing is you make sure you don't have any paint on the back, because if you have paint on the back, that's going to raise it and you might get more paint underneath. All right, now, I don't ever measure. I just kind of eyeball it. And the reason this is one of my favorite stencils is I collect nativity scenes. So every year I try to add some. Like if we go somewhere, I try to get a nativity scene as a souvenir. I try to make some every year. And then a lot of my friends give me nativity scenes too. Right, so I scooped out a little bit of white. Like I told y'all before, the most important thing when you're doing a stencil is to offload it. So don't go in with that much paint on your stencil brush or your little foam brush. Get off as much as you can, kind of pat it around. And then I usually kind of pat it on the stencil somewhere just to see how it looks. And I try to start on left because I'm right-handed. And then just pounce it and don't brush it on, because when you brush it, that will also like scoot the paint underneath. It's really better to go lighter and then go back and add. I can tell this over here is a lot darker, but you can also go back and sand it off too if you get spots that are too dark. Get my little camel legs in there. Those are kind of hard because they're so narrow. All right, here we go. Always makes me a little nervous. Ta-da! All right. It is a little dark over here and a little dark there, but that's okay. I love it. That right there, I may come back when it's completely dry and sand it down a little bit there, sand it down a little bit there. That'll work. I love it. Okay, this is dry. It doesn't take much of this varnish, so it's a little thick, but it's still working. And then just a really light coat over it. And it'll kind of darken the wood just a little bit. Can you see that? You're going to be able to tell it more on the black one, I think, because it'll darken up the black paint. And this will just make sure that it doesn't rub off, because the white is a chalk-based paint, which will distress really good. So if you wanted to come back and, you know, make it look even more distressed than it does, you could kind of sand down the painted parts a little bit. All right, that's done. All it needs is a hanger, and we are going to put those on when it gets completely dry. And just so you know, this red is Vintage Effect Wash in red. And they do have a berry, which is a darker red, which is what I'm going to try next time. The green one down here is also a Vintage Effect Wash. It's Hunter Green. And this was just black carbon. And this is a dark stain. So, vote for the one that you like the best. Thanks for joining. Bye.